So good evening, everyone. My name is Sandy Dean. Aliyah's father and I are first cousins, and I am beyond honored and touched that I was asked to perform their ceremony. I want to thank everyone that's here in attendance today, especially those of you who've traveled from afar. Your presence at this celebration has made this day all the more special. So we're all here to celebrate in the union of Brian Matthew Gannon and Alyia Serena Dean in their sacred commitment of marriage. I'd like to begin by reading a brief passage from one of my favorite books. It's called The Alchemist. It's by Paulo Coelho. When he looked into her dark eyes and saw her lips were poised between a laugh and silence, he learned the most important part of the language that all the world spoke, the language everyone on earth was capable of understanding in their heart. It was love. Something older than humanity, more ancient than the desert. What the boy felt at that moment was that he was in the presence of the only woman in his life, and without need for words, she recognized the same. Because when you know the language, it's easy to understand that someone in the world awaits you. And when two such people encounter each other, the past and the future become unimportant. There's only that moment and that incredible certainty that everything under the sun has been written by one hand. It is that hand that evokes love and creates a twin soul. It was such love that gave him his dreams. The Alchemist is a book. It's about a man named Santiago. And Santiago was told that he was destined to acquire a buried treasure. So what Santiago did was he left his home, he left the love of his life, and he traveled all around the globe in order to find this treasure. He thought it was in the pyramids in Egypt. He thought he'd have to go under the sea to find it. On his travels, he went through many adventures where he risked his life. He met a lot of characters along the way. What he learned was that with each character that he met, there was a lesson. Each adventure taught him something. However, he wouldn't have been able to acquire these lessons had he not recognized in the first place that there were lessons to be learned. When Santiago completed his journey, he came back home. He ended up finding his buried treasure. The entire time, it was under his favorite tree in the front yard of his own home. The moral of the story is that while Santiago did receive his physical riches, it was the journey, it was the lessons learned that brought him spiritual wealth. And that fortune was far greater than what he was seeking in the first place. When I sat down with Brian and Alyia to prepare for today, I interrogated them, for lack of a better term, with many questions. I wanted to dig and I wanted to find out what really mattered to the two of them. And not once did they mention cars or money or even their highly respectable professions as police officers. The things that they spoke of were moments. They shared with me moments when they joked together, when they laughed together, when one of them was sarcastic and the other one caught the humor and was sarcastic right back. They shared with me the simple things, like cooking and conversation. And it was in that moment that I thought to myself, they get it. They get where their true treasure lies. I've known Alyia since she was a little girl. She was about the same size as she is now, though. I don't know if it was her size or what it was, but there was something in me that felt like I needed to protect her. But I soon found out that Alyia didn't need protecting. Her spirit has always been full of strength. I've never seen Alyia back down from a challenge. She would be afraid. She had that fear, but she would get up there, she would show up, and she would walk through it. She's one of the bravest people I've ever met in my entire life. I promised I wouldn't cry. I am so proud of her and her life choices, and I am eternally grateful that she's been able to find a partner who shares her same values and her same vision and her dedication as well. A few years ago, Brian and Alyia began the police academy, 2 different police academies, and later they were called on scenes together. When they were called on scenes together, they built a working relationship, and then soon after spending time together, they built a friendship. Now, we're all here, obviously, because that friendship blossomed into love. They shared stories with me about work and about life. And, for all of us that work, we know that work comes with its stress. With their profession, the stress is above average. So when they're at work, they focus on what needs to be done. They know that people rely on them. But they take that energy when they come home and that same focus, and they put it into one another. I work in computer software. And if I want to tell someone about my day, it's a little complicated. Like, they just look at me like, what are you talking about? Riyadh understands. So there's times I long for just to call like my work buddy instead of a friend, because they're gonna get it. And when Brian and Alyia come home, their work buddy's already there. They have the opportunity to share their day with someone and look across at the other person and know that that person completely understands their thoughts and all of their feelings. Every day that they put on their uniforms, they show people that they are of strong character, that they practice responsibility, commitment, loyalty, and that they know what it's like to have a partner and to have each other's backs. These are the qualities that have laid a foundation for them to build their marriage on. Brian, I've only met you a few times, but every time I see you, you're respectable, you're friendly, and you already feel like part of our family. I've known Alyia pretty much her entire life, and I have to say that when I see her with you, she's completely herself. This is the same beautiful, amazing person that I watched grow up. That's the same person she is when she's with you. And for me, one of the greatest gifts in life is to be able to be who I am with someone and to be loved for it. When I look at Brian and Alyia as a couple, I don't see 2 people that are trying to make each other happy. I see 2 happy people that are increasing each other's joy. I see love. I see best friends that are about to become husband and wife. Before we get into the vows, what I would like to do, we all know that a successful marriage wouldn't be successful without the support of others. So everyone that's here, I know we're all of different faiths and beliefs, so what I'd like to do is just take a short moment of silence where I would like you to send your well wishes, your good energies, your prayers, your blessings, and just honor the bride and groom in your own way. So if you would join me in a brief moment of silence just to send the couple your best wishes. Thank you. All right. To start the vows, I'm going to do a short reading, and then the bride and groom will take over. This is from Robert Fulghum. It's called From Beginning to End, and it reminded me of the 2 of you. You have known each other from the first glance of acquaintance to this point of commitment. At some point, you decided to marry. From that moment of yes to this moment of yes, indeed, you've been making promises and agreements in informal ways. All those conversations that were held riding in a car or over a meal or during long walks, all those sentences that began with when we're married and continued with I will, and you will, and we will. Those late night talks that included someday and somehow, and maybe. And all those promises that are unspoken matters of the heart. All these common things and more are the real process of a wedding. The symbolic vows that you are about to make are a way of saying to one another, you know all those things I promised you? Well, I really meant it. You have been many things to one another before this moment. Acquaintances, friends, companions, dancing partners, and even teachers, for you have learned much from one another. Now you shall say a few words that take you across the threshold of life, and things will never quite be the same between you. For after these vows, you shall say to the world, this is my husband, and this is my wife. Brian and Alyia have chosen to write their own vows. And so they're going to share them with you at this time. You ready, Brian?
Ever since the day we met, you had the ability to read me. My seemingly tough, unemotional, wanna-be-hard exterior was immediately shattered by you and your dry, sarcastic wit. You're able to interpret my every mood and emotion by my demeanor, the way I give a one-worded answer, or by the mere look in my eyes. You instantly know if the silent treatment is caused by something bothering me mentally, or if I just have heartburn from too much pepper in your chicken. You have allowed me to be vulnerable without judgment and my true self to you. We have both been called crazy for the fact that we work together, we live together, and do everything together. However, I believe it's a testament to our wild, crazy, psychotic love that we have for one another. I miss you when you leave the room. And I continue to crave for the times we spend together. That includes the grocery shopping at Walmart, eating mayonnaise chicken at the casino at 4 a.m., my favorite, or spontaneously driving to the Keys, or ride with you by your side forever. I'm thankful for each and every day of our amazing friendship, as it has allowed our incredible love for one another to genuinely grow. You truly are my best friend. I promise to always defend you and be on your side. Our love is invincible, unshakable, and unbeatable when we are a team. No matter what curveballs life throw at us, I promise to you my undying crazy love, honesty, compassion, and attention to you always.
Thank you, Brian. Are you ready?
I don't eat mayonnaise. Okay. A serendipity is the occurrence and development of events by chance in a happy or beneficial way, or rather the discovery of something beautiful that was once not in quest of. Brian Matthew Gannon, you are my serendipity. Exactly 2 years ago today, we responded on our first ever call together over a bunch of homeless people causing a disturbance. I remember thinking to myself, who is this Officer Gannon guy? Well, I quickly realized that this Officer Gannon guy was one of the coolest and smartest people that I have ever met. We became great friends instantly over silly conversations about watermelon, pickles, cotton candy grapes, fair trade tea, and of course, tactical mascara. You made it pretty easy to fall in love with you. We both just got one another so purely and understood our own sarcasm and wit. I've been blessed to be your friend, your partner, your homie, and now today, your wife. You're the only person in the world that I can spend all day with and still miss when you're in the shower. Thank you for breaking my tough exterior, making me vulnerable, and simply showing me the definition of love. Thank you for adapting, learning, and totally accepting my culture and also eating all my spicy foods. I promise to continue to be your best friend and be the dopest wife ever in every way possible for you. I promise to listen to you, never yell at you, and always remain open-minded with everything that life throws at us. The only thing that I ask for you in return is that you continue to take Hennessy shots with me and listen to soca music when we are old, wrinkly, and in a nursing home. When God blesses us with the opportunity to bring another life into this world, I have zero doubt that you're going to be an incredible father. I love you, dude.
beautiful. Okay, now we're gonna move into the exchanging of the rings. The bride and groom have decided while they exchange their rings, instead of doing vows, they're actually going to whisper promises in one another's ears. Will the best man please hand the groom the ring? Okay. Brian, will you please place the ring on Aliyah's finger as you whisper your promise into her ear? Alyia, will you please place the ring on Brian's finger as you whisper your promise into his ear? Let these rings symbolize your hearts encircling one another and becoming each other's home. All right, here comes the fun stuff. Brian Matthew Gannon, do you promise to love and cherish Alyia Serena Dean and accept her as your lawfully wedded wife? I do. Alyia Serena Dean, do you promise to love and cherish Brian Matthew Gannon as your lawfully wedded husband? They both said I do, if anyone didn't hear. All right. And this is my favorite part. By the virtue of the authority vested in me under the laws of the state of Florida, I now pronounce you husband and wife. You may now kiss the bride. It is my pleasure to introduce to you all for the first time as a married couple, Brian and Alyia.
My part's over dropped.
All right. Shout out to Sandy. That was beautifully done. And all right, we know the secrets. I heard it over there. Brian was telling her he wants to take shots of Tito's, and she said no, longer, light liquor, only dark. All right, so now the bride, the beautiful bride. Let's just give it up for them one more time. Come on. All right, so that lovely, gorgeous couple who's officially now married, they are actually going to be skedaddling out for just a little bit, take some pictures, and those talented